Hi, so today you're in for a special treat because this is one of my all-time favorite lessons ever. It's the preterit tense of AR verbs, but it's also the preterit tense of ER and IR verbs. We're going to cover them all in this lesson. It's an exciting lesson on conjugation. The learning objectives are that you can conjugate the AR verbs in the preterit tense. The preterit is just a fancy name for the past tense. That you can rap like a black-eyed pea, and that you can conjugate ER and IR verbs also in the preterit tense. So I got a little bit of help from my friends, the black-eyed peas. They helped me write a song to help you learn to conjugate in the past tense. So just to review, when we conjugate, we change the verb to match the subject, or we say who's doing the verb. A review of the present tense conjugations, we dropped the AR ending of the verb when we're conjugating AR verbs, like cantar. We dropped the AR, and we're left with the stem or the root of the verb. In this case, it's cant. And then you add the new endings. Super easy. The present tense endings for AR verbs were o, as, a, amos, ais, and an. The preterit tense verb endings are aste, o, amos, asteis, and aron. So to conjugate a verb in the past tense or the preterit tense, you do the same thing. You drop the ending, AR ending for AR verbs, and then you add a new set of endings. And it's saying that instead of you're doing the verb in the present tense, it means you did the verb in the past tense. For example, here's my verb cantar, which means to sing. Yo canté, I sang. Tú cantaste, you sang. Él, ella, or usted cantó. He sang, she sang, you, formal, sang. Nosotros cantamos, we sang. Vosotros cantáis, or cantasteis, you all in Spain sang. And ellos, ellas, and ustedes cantaron. They sang, or you all sang. So one thing you may notice is that the nosotros ending is the same in the present tense and in the past tense. It's amos both times. And you may be wondering, how do we know if we're speaking the present tense or the past tense? And the only answer I have for that is by the context of what you're saying. If you're talking about something you did in the past tense, then you would generally know that. But I'm not going to say that it's always clear. So sometimes, just like in English, you might ask for clarification. When did you do that? Something like that. So that's the only kind of funky thing there, is that the nosotros endings are the same in the present and the past tense. So in comes the black-eyed peas. How are we going to remember the endings? Well, we wrote a little song together, Fergie and I, and it's called Verbs, Verbs, Verbs. And here's what it sounds like. We got some AR verbs in the preterit tense. We got to change the endings to make them make sense. We got aste, o, amos, asteis, aron. Just change the endings, and then you're done. Verbs, verbs, verbs. Verbs, verbs, verbs. Got to get that verbs, verbs, verbs. I can't believe I just did that for you. Okay, so let's practice. Bailar for yo. Bailé. Chatear for nosotros. Chateamos. Comprar for ellos. Compraron. Escuchar for usted. Escuchó. Estudiar for él. Estudió. Esquiar for vosotros. Esquiasteis. And fumar for tú. Fumaste. So here's some really good news about the past tense. ER and IR verbs share the same endings. So there's only two sets of endings for you to memorize when using the preterite tense or the past tense. There's AR endings, aste, o, amos, aste, saron, and then there's the ER and IR endings. And they are iste, io, imos, isteis, ieron. So yeah, they have I's in them. Iste, io, imos, isteis, ieron. So here you go, you can give it a shot with some ER and IR verbs. Comer for tú, comiste. Vivir for ustedes, vivieron. Escribir for yo, escribí. Beber for ella, bebió. Ver for nosotros, vimos. Now that's an interesting verb. Again, when you drop the ER, you're left with just the letter V, which in that case is that verb's stem. And then you add imos. So vimos, we saw. Recibir for vosotros, recibisteis. Vender for ellos, vendieron. Abrir for tú, abriste. Time to check yourself. Can you conjugate AR verbs in the preterite tense? Can you rap like the Black Eyed Peas? Or can you rap like Professor Korea? Can you conjugate ER and IR verbs in the preterite tense?